Hello, Fargo. My name is Tony Gehrig, Fargo City Commissioner. This is your recap for the October 9th Fargo City Commission meeting. There's a lot of issues here, and I want to cover them quickly in 5 minutes, so let's get right to it. There was a Renaissance zone exemption for the 3 buildings that are connected to a Subway here in downtown, the Subway sandwich shop downtown. In general, I vote no against these exemptions. I bring it up because Renaissance zone exemptions, TIFs, and pilots are ballooning. They're going up and up and up, and they're not going down, which I think they should be. So please keep paying attention to how many of those we are approving, because it's costing you money right out of your pocket. The Robert Street ramp is just down the street from City Hall. They have a ramp, and then they are affixing on the exterior apartment buildings and shops at the bottom. They want an easement to be placed on there so that they can put holes in the wall, put doorways in, so that people living in those apartments can walk into the ramp. Makes sense to me. The easement is basically permanent, which of course it should be. There's a hole in the wall now. So that was a 5-0 vote to give them that easement. I was just fine with that. The parking priority, though, the Kilbourne Group wants parking priority for their residents. That means that they will have first crack at getting a parking spot versus people coming off the street. The entire reason we built a parking ramp, or the reason we were told to build a parking ramp, was that more people are coming downtown to shop, therefore we want somewhere for them to park. Well, if we're giving all the spots to people who live here in this newly created parking ramp / apartment building, that really wasn't the truth then, was it? So they wanted a 99-year basically agreement saying that they get priority on those parking spots. John Strand and I disagreed. We said that you shouldn't get priority. First come, first serve. If you get it, you get it. But the 3 other commissioners gave them 25 years of having that parking priority. I disagree with it, but that's just the way it went. 3-2 vote. I asked to have a brown bag, and a brown bag is nothing but a meeting with all the commissioners on like a Tuesday at lunch or whatever, and we would talk about a specific issue. I want to talk about special assessments for new developments. There's 2 types of specials: existing infrastructure and new infrastructure. Okay, so if I'm gonna tear up Broadway, for example, or University Drive, and put a new road, a new gutter, and new sidewalk, and all those things, that's existing. Okay, that's a tough egg to crack. It's hard to do without specials. But for new properties, if it's a green field, everywhere else in America, the developer comes in, they put in the road, they put in the gutter, they put in the sidewalk, then they build your house, and they charge you whatever it costs for them to do that, plus a little bit for profit, right? In Fargo, they do all the same things, but instead of paying for the gutter and the road in the sale of the house, they get a loan from the city. And then they take that loan from the city and they charge you for it in what's called a special assessment. It's unnecessary. All it is an incentive or a subsidy for developers, so they don't have to go and get the loan from the bank in order to do those things. So you're paying for that instead in the form of special assessments, and you're paying higher taxes to do it. I think there's a better way, and that better way is to just not do it anymore. And that will save the city money, it'll save you money. So we're going to have that discussion coming up here at a later date. Dave brought forth the issue of property taxes. His basic idea, if I understand correctly, was he wants you to fix it. He wants the residents of Fargo to come up with an initiated measure to fix our property tax issue. That was his idea. Tony Gehrig brought up election reform. The big picture on that is nothing happened. No one voted to change anything. None of us have received much of any outpouring for change. And if you personally, you watching this, want to see change, contact us, email us, phone calls, come meet with us. Because to this point, that really has not happened, at least not here in Fargo. Injunction. The Fargo diversion lost a court battle. And it said that they have to stop all flood protection activity, until Minnesota gives us the permits to continue. The injunction included everything. A wall in Fargo, or the Oxbow Dike, or the inlet, or the ditch, the whole thing. It included all of it. There was no exception given. No cutout, no carve out was granted. So I asked City Commission, in the Fargo diversion, to go ahead and tell us what products we can and can't do, because we were just continuing with the products that we had. We weren't stopping, which opens up to more court battles. So we finally got a letter here that states exactly what we can or cannot do, which is what I asked for. That's a good story. I'm glad this happened, because until I pushed for it, it wasn't going to happen. So that's good. We know now what projects we can or can't do. And in the future, we need to ask the judge what projects we can do that won't affect Minnesota, and he will grant that through a letter just like this. This is only 2 pages. It specifically talks about Oxbow. So if we try to do something outside of Oxbow, it has to do with flood protection that can affect Minnesota, we shouldn't be doing it, and we need to ask permission to do that. But this is a good story overall. All right, the resolution of inclusion. In general, I find these things contentious for no reason. And what I mean by that is we as a community of Fargo are very inclusive already. We are very diverse. We are more diverse than people give us credit for, quite frankly. We have immigrants and refugees and people that are transplants from all over the country, Canada, Mexico, Czechoslovakia, Nepal. I mean, people come here because we're a great city. We're an inclusive city. We're an inviting city. We're a friendly city. Every time people come here, what you hear is what a great group of people we are. So I think it should be granted. It should be accepted as truth, and it should be assumed first that we are an inclusive city. Now, when someone writes a resolution saying that we have to be inclusive, it assumes a couple things. Number one, that we're not inclusive already, and that we need this document to tell us to be inclusive. And two, it's contentious. It points a finger in your chest saying, do you agree with this or not? You better sign this. I don't think we need to be doing that. I did vote for it because I think we are an inclusive city, and I don't think there's anything in that document that changes that. But I think people need to think a little bit more before forcing these kind of issues to say, is it required? I think we all agree I think most of us agree that we're inclusive. I think most of us agree that we're a great community. And we should be celebrating ways that we are inclusive rather than shaming people that we think aren't inclusive, right? So I think if we're going to have a resolution, the next resolution I want to see is saying thank you to the business owners and to the neighbors and to the people that come here because they are inclusive. And thank you for being inclusive, and please continue to be inclusive. That's the way I would like to see things done. But I did vote for it. It was a 4-1 vote. Dave Pepcorn voted against it. That is your recap for the October 9th meeting. It was an interesting meeting. It was a long meeting. But I hope that people pay attention, and I hope that it's interesting to folks because it is your government and it is close to you and it affects you every day. So please keep watching the video, share the video, and of course, watch how your city commissioners are spending your tax dollars. Thank you.